If you need Pokemon TCG codes, make sure you stop by Town Store. They have automatic email delivery of all the code cards, and they have a really nice variety of stock of all the latest Sun and Moon sets along with all the promo cards. And make sure you use TableMon code when you're checking out to get an extra 5% off. Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new day of Road to TCG Worlds 2019. So today will be a little bit different. We won't see any gameplay in particular, but I do want to talk about the big 6 decks, 6-7 decks that I think are the best and top contenders for Worlds at the moment. So they are, as you can see here, Reshiram GX, Dark Box, Fire M&Ms, 2 variants of Malamar, along with Pikachu and Reshiram. So these 6 or 7 different decks I think are some of the most solid and good picks you could have for Worlds. There are other decks outside of this like Shedinja, like Breloom stuff, like Hoopa, Spiritomb stuff, but I haven't found them to be reliable enough in terms of damage output, in terms of potential. So I definitely don't think those decks would be like safe picks. Yeah, if you get a good string of matchups, yeah, perhaps you could make it work for you. However, I don't see that happening because the metagame should be all over the place, and there should be a really weird and a really random amount of representation of the different decks. I honestly, from this list, I could tell you that probably Malamar, Pikachu, and Reshiram will be the most popular, and then these other 3 will not be as popular, but they will be more popular than anything else outside of these decks. That is my prediction, at least. So I did want to showcase some of the decks where I'm at with the list. So let's start with Reshiram and Reshiram GX. We have our good 4 of Reshiram GX. Of course, we want to Mind Blown and trade against those tag teams, which is a very nice way to do it. Thanks to B-String, we get to deal 50 damage for every fire energy attached to our field, or that we send to a Lost Zone rather from our field. We have Welder to power up extra energy, we have B-Strings to power up extra energy, we have Nagnatel to recover energy with the charging up ability. We also have the Ultra Conversion Nagnatel to draw extra cards. We have the Dennis to draw extra cards. We essentially have 5 Poipoles, with Ditto being the only card in the whole deck that is not actually searchable by Cherish Ball, Ultra Space, or Mysterious Treasure. So a hyper consistent list, a bunch of energy, a bunch of supporters, a bunch of search, a bunch of B-Strings, extra draw with Heat Factory, custom catchers to target down the right Pokemon, and even a 1-off damage modifier in the form of the Beast Energy. So I really do like this list in particular. It has felt consistent, so this does seem to be a pretty powerful pick for Worlds. The issue with this is definitely the Tapu Fini. That could easily be splashed into several different decks, and therefore give this deck a lot of trouble, because it essentially reads deal 100 damage to Reshiram GX and knock it out because of weakness. Now, next up we have Dark Box, whose purpose is to get energy into play with Nagnatel and then move it around with Weavel's Shadow Connection, which allows us to move Dark type energy freely around the board. As we do that, we can power up this Umbreon Darkrai for Blacklands and also Darkmoon GX. The bonus effect is super powerful, knocking out and not allowing to use trainers during the next turn. And then we also have Mega Sableye and Tyranitar GX with a very heavy 5 and 10 energy costs respectively, although you don't need 10 to do the damage for Gigafall. But a pretty powerful, pretty big Pokemon overall. We also have Darkrai Prism to accelerate energy. We have the Dedenne to draw extra cards. And then we're trying to get the deck as consistent as possible with the Lilies, the Cynthias, the Pokecoms, the Pokegears, the treasures, the cherished balls, and then of course, if or when we do manage to set up, the super scoop ups will make a big difference. Now 11 energy is a very healthy amount, especially with Viridian Forest. It usually ends up working out pretty nicely for the deck. Now next up we have Fireman Imps. As I've topped the deck, I don't think it has caught on, at least not with many other content creators. But overall, this deck is it's probably the best deck that I won't be playing at Worlds, I feel. Getting a turn 1 welder, getting continuous welders and energy off of Turbo Strike is pretty powerful for the deck, because with the Perfection ability you can use any attack from a Pokemon GX that's in your bench or your discard pile, which is really powerful. That is why we have this wide array of other attackers, and we don't have any Pokeballs, but we do have Naganadel for the Venom Shot to snipe things on the bench, especially the Denes. We also have Dragonite's GX Sky Judgment, which is a really powerful attack. 270 for 5 energy, discarding 3. Not that big a deal, and anytime you have a Mewtwo with 2 energy, then there is always the very real possibility that someone uses Sky Judgment against you. Now we have Reshiram's attacks are also pretty powerful. Outrage, Flare Strike, and Double Blaze are all extremely powerful, especially Double Blaze allowing you to hit for 300 and bypass any effects on the opposing Pokemon. We have Turbo Strike for the early pressure, and we get to deal 120 damage and then power up energy to the bench, which is also pretty good to get 2 Mewtwo's ready. And then we have Jirachi with its Psychic Zone ability to cover weakness, and the Star Surge attack, which can actually be pretty good early on. And we also have Latios GX, which with its attack Purge and its Clear Vision GX attack, both very good anti-tag team and anti-GX decks in general. Especially attack Purge does put a lot of opponents in a pickle. Now we also have Greninja GX, the movie promo. We get Mist Slash does deal 130 damage, and we get to bypass any effects. So a really nice way to bypass Fairy Charms, to bypass abilities, to bypass anything that we might need to bypass. Outside of that, we have maximum consistency. The Coach Trainers are very nice. The Welders are very nice. You do want to accumulate stuff in your hand. I don't have custom catchers in this anymore. I decided that getting a bulky or tanky Mewtwo was the better option. That's why we have the Great Potions and the Choice Helmets at higher counts to try and make that each Mewtwo live for longer. And we do have the Snipe ability of Naganadel GX, so it's not that big a deal to lose that. To lose the custom catchers. It does weaken our Malamar matchup, however, because we can't do the cool bring up a Malamar and then snipe one on the bench, but it's something you have to give up on if you want the extra resilience against the rest of the format. Now we have our 4 Pokegears, 4 Cherish Balls, and 4 Mysterious Treasures as well to help with the consistency. We have Giant Hearts and the Heat Factory to combine with Welder, but also as counter stadiums for Power Plant. You have a very healthy amount of energy. Triple Switch to combat the paralysis from Chuchu, and they're just good cards overall. In case you don't start Mewtwo, if you might, sometimes you start the Dene or Jirachi or even Reshiram, but you always want to have a Mewtwo up front. And then we have our good old 2 reset stamps. So the versatility of this deck is really powerful, but sometimes in having all these many options, you actually just don't end up having the right one sometimes at the right time. Yeah, but sometimes the deck can flow really nicely, and then you're set up for the whole game in the first few turns. Now we have Malamar, Giratina, Garchomp, another really powerful deck that relies on Psychic Recharge to attach reattach Psychic Energies from the discard pile to Pokemon in order to power up big attacks like Shadow Impact from Giratina, Calamitous Slash from Garchomp and Giratina GX, along with GGN, which can be pretty powerful if timed well. And finally, even Marshall Machamp benefits from the Psychic Recharge, especially with Revenge. Also for 100 Blows, Impact, and Acme of Heroism GX. If the Marshall Machamp does survive, then you get to keep up the pressure. Now we also have Esper to compensate for the fact that we don't have any custom catchers. This is essentially a budget custom catcher. In terms of deck space, we only need 1 deck space for Esper rather than 4 for the 4 custom catchers to be effective. And then we have our Mew, which its attack is pretty nice, combined with the spell tax and to get the right amount on things for Calamity Slash. And then we also have the 2 Jirachi and the Tene for support. Now, supporters wise, we have our Cynthia, our Lily, and the one of Erika's. This could easily be the 4th Acrobike. I do like having Erika's as an option. We have Acrobikes, we have Pokecoms, we have Mysterious Treasures to maximize consistency. And we have Viridian Forest as well to get the right energy at the right time and also help get the Psychics into a discard pile. Now we have a very nice combination of Switch and a Skateboard to make sure that we always have a pivot in order to power up our benched attackers. And we have the triple spell tag to increase our damage output along with the 2 reset stamps to be extra annoying. Now we also have the pure psychic version of Malamar. It has less punch, yeah, it relies so much more on the Giratina, but the extra space not dedicated to the different energy types and or the GX attackers do allow us to run the extra Jirachi, the Mimikyu, the Espion and Deoxys tag team for the mirror matches with the Cross Division GX attack. Placing 10 damage counters is pretty good, having the extra HP is pretty good, and potentially getting to place 20 damage counters is insanely good. Now we have the same supporter and trainer lineup, except we do have the 4 spell tags and the 4 acrobatics this time around, along with 8 basic psychic energy to round out the deck. Now, finally we have our Pigrom deck, which is built hyper consistently, or as consistent as possible, with 2 Pigroms, 2 Zeraoras, 2 Zapdos, 1 Choo-Choo, triple Dedenne to keep drawing, and then the one of Coco Prism Star. Full lightning focus, very straightforward attacking options along with a very healthy amount of 12 lightning energies and a very healthy 4 Cynthia and 4 Volkner along with 1 Erika option. Now, no Lily in this deck. I'm not particularly fond of it in this one in particular because using between Volkner, getting the right item card and giving you access to Stadium Nav for Thunder Mountain is amazing, along with the Tene, along with the Tene from Radar. You shouldn't ever be wanting to use Lily other than the first turn perhaps, and after the first turn all of these supporters are so much better. Now we do have some healing and Great Potion, we do have communication to search for Coco and Zapdos, along with potentially saving a Pokemon to get discarded from the Tene. We have maximum electro powers for damage output, custom catchers and radars for consistency purposes, triple energy switch and attack switch, double Lysander Labs to combat Malamar, along with our Thunder Mountain, and also triple Stadium plus the Stadium Nav to combat power plants. And then finally we have 2 switching cards for the mirror matches in which do affect a lot because Tandem Shock does paralyze, and that is the best way to combat that effect. Now, Pigrom, of course, Full Blitz powering up your attackers, and then Tack Bolt being able to target a bench Pokemon is really powerful, but just overall 3 energies for 200 damage that can be increased thanks to the Electro Powers is actually really, really good. So, a very straightforward deck, very powerful deck. The free retreat that Zeraora provides this deck gives it so much flexibility. And yeah, that is Pikarom, and then finally Reshiram. Reshiram is another pretty powerful deck, a pretty easy deck to transition from the previous format to this one, so I do expect that to be a big factor in a lot of people choosing this deck. We have the 3 Reshisards allowing us to Flare Strike and Double Blaze and Outrage, all 3 very powerful attacks. 230 being a little bit short in terms of damage output, especially against threats like Pigrom, but overall finishing things off with Outrage or having access to Double Blaze is really powerful, and we do have a lot of healing to make sure that Reshiram and Charizard gets a lot of attacks in continuously. Now our 4 Volcanions with a Flare Starter attack, which allows us to power up Reshiram, and it's especially powerful if you're going second because you get to place 3 energies rather than 1, making or taking away pressure from finding that turn 1 welder super early on. Now we're running the Greens engine, which can find us the Giant Hearts, the Heat Factory and the Power Plants when we do need them, along with the pair of Mixed Herbs the Great Potion, so we have a lot of flexibility thanks to the greens. We also have Fan Club to make sure that we get a decent amount of Volcanions out in any given game, because they are important to try and force an opponent to play to 8 prices rather than just 6 by going to Attack Beams. And then of course we have our Custom Catchers, our Cherish Balls, our Fire Crystals, very important cards in this deck, especially because losing a Reshiram needs such a big energy commitment to it that recovering energy is very, very crucial. Acrobatics help us dig a little bit deeper into the deck, though sometimes the discards can be a little meh, but definitely one of the best cards to accelerate. If you wanted to go with a more conservative approach, these could be Judge Whistles instead. Less powerful, but also no risk of discarding. And then we have our 2 reset stamps and our 2 switches to play around with the Reshiram without having to actually manually retreat. There are extra ways, along with the mixed herbs, to get out of a paralysis from Choo Choo. And then we also have the reset stamps to be able to attack our opponent's hand. So these are the big 6 or 7 decks, if you will, that I expect to be showing up at the Pokemon World Championships. As you guys are seeing this video, today will be Friday. I'm recording this in the past. I'm already in Washington, but you guys will be seeing this on Friday, so hopefully this is a really good preview of what you can expect to show up at the World Championship, and I'm sure there will be other surprises as well, but these are my favorite contenders for making it through day 1 and for showing up big time in the Open, and also potentially making top cut on day 2 of the World Championships. Thank you so much, guys. With this video, we are finally concluding our road to the World Championships 2019. As of Monday, we will be starting our new road to the 2020 World Championships. I do expect a lot of changes to happen in terms of what I do for the season, depending on the best finish limits and whatnot. But if nothing gets announced anytime soon, I definitely will be spending a bunch more time doing content and a lot less time traveling. So hopefully you guys look forward to that. Thank you so much. Don't forget to leave a like, check out Botan Store, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.